Look, don't you agree our Chancellor agrees a budget with your ministers, but they don't have a clue how much revenue is going to be collected. Each budget is set for years, and it creates bigger national debts. It forces taxes to rise further to pay off the debts, right? You're always saying about it, whereas people like us, people out there waiting to hear you, are forced to take out personal loans, even to finance their own essentials. How can you expect us to pay off a national debt too? What's needed is for all new money supplies to be interest free, created by you, not by private banks who charge us interest and you. New money into the economy, debt free, as a payment for public sector wages. And that would filter through to all of us eventually and increase everyone's money supply. Why do the banks have to get richer whilst we all get poorer?
So, we cut out all revenue collection, but how do we pay for local and national government services, roads, TV, medical treatments? How?
Simple. Like I said, keep things simple. It's in your notes if you read it. The Chancellor needs guaranteed supply of money, right?
Yes, preferably, but how?
Do you agree that all British goods and services have to be bought and sold, yeah? Well, from a small team set up in your treasury, you could enforce a flat financial transaction levy collected on everyone's credit payments or spending. Like a turnover tax, but nobody would be able to identify it, and it would feel as though it didn't exist. But because nobody could avoid it, the Chancellor would collect all that was required very simply.
Ah, you mean a tiny levy on all financial transactions collected from a handful of financial reconciliation record keepers in proportion to everyone's involvement within the whole economy?
Yes, yes, yes! Every month the Chancellor would adjust the levy at a flick of a switch and create a fiscal balance that would keep the economy healthy for everyone, permanently.
So, 60 million people out there would pay no taxes, revenue licences, tolls or charges whatsoever to the Chancellor?
Well, it would certainly feel like that. There would not be tax returns, complicated calculations, fiddling and stress. There'd be no declaration of earnings. That would all disappear. People would keep every bit of their income. Currently, as you know, there is a temptation to avoid paying tax, and this is counterproductive. Instead of there being a black economy, undeclared economy, everything would perform as one. Life-boosting economy it would be, with a real incentive to try. Who needs all the aggro our system makes? Who needs to be made poorer? We need to be better off.
And naturally, once people have earned their money, because who'd be mad enough to risk prison that they had to pay for, people just enjoy spending their money at 100% face value. The more they earn, the more they can spend, especially if all new credit is created debt or interest free. So living standards must rise, right?
Yes, but there's more. It's important that you realise how fair and reasonable this would be. People who earn more than others would naturally, without realising it, contribute more to the budget than people that are less well off. But nobody would feel any less important. We would all play our part in a way that gives everyone an incentive.
But wouldn't people be suspicious of tax system changes?
Certainly not. That's why we're here, and everyone is listening carefully. We realise that as collection and enforcement costs disappear and bureaucracy is slashed all across UK businesses will be able to reduce prices. That's the beauty. The increased consumer demand will create the jobs we need, and it will create investment in productivity, lowering prices. Our export and services will boom. It'll be a correction of our balance of payments and the brain drain that will be, really in our favour.
What about inflation? Sterling parity with other currencies. I'm still worried about those.
Look, keep it simple. What have I told you? It's in your notes. Without money supply with interest attached, and without the drag of tax collection costs, businesses will be enthused to up the supply of goods. There won't be inflation, there will be a bigger supply. This will hold back prices. Also, people will be able to build savings for the future, for their spending later on, which will suppress inflation too.
Yes, I see. What about our trade balances with other countries?
No problem at all. As our costs will have fallen and productivity per thousand people will have risen, we will be able to find increased markets, so our exports will be able to balance our imports. Now, sterling.
Yes, sterling.
Right,
What
yeah.
about sterling?
The best currency on earth. Take the steps we've asked for, and its value will produce great results. Not too low, not too high, but to maintain sustainably high living standards. Our new economics under private sector growth will be helped further by distribution of free local currency. Are you listening? Which will retain increased wealth within communities. So prosperity can become all inclusive.
It can't be that simple. What about the support of disadvantaged people?
Haven't you grasped yet? The exchequer won't have to borrow to meet deficits anymore. Cash shortages will disappear. All healthy people and most disabled people will relish the idea of tax-free income from work. The workforce will want to produce answers, finding fresh ways to provide what's needed. Sufficient funding amenities will be provided for our disadvantaged people too.
But all those department closures, what'll happen to taxmen and women, civil servants, investigators? Accountants not needed anymore. Criminal justice people, PAYE clerks, TV and car licence staff, what will they do?
You forgot traffic wardens, P.
You're not going to scrap traffic wardens too?
Well, of course. They've been living off our backs with the rest of them, making our lives miserable. There will be more fruitful, positive work for them. Work which produces higher living standards for all the rest of us.
My question was, what will these people actually be doing?
As I've said, because people have more money to use, that will increase demand for supplies. This will stimulate industry to produce. Extra production will demand more talented workers. Bingo! The economy will have found its confidence, and with a paid work for all policy will suck in all the people you're worried about. Once people get the hang of things, they will change jobs to trade up. We will compete in the world at all levels, high-tech and low-tech. Do you follow?
So, you're advocating full employment?
Yes, full employment for all who want income. Whether it's self-employed, employed, it's privately run, with interest-free spending, it'll make everything possible from the money we earn.
Just a mo, eh? Whittle tells me your friends outside in Downing Street are asking to see me. I must leave you for a short while. Do you fancy having a PMO while I pop outside for a minute? Lights fade. Scene ends. Intermission. Scene 2. Scenery is turned to show the door of number 10. Audience become the 60 million people waiting to see the Prime Minister. Loud clapping and cheering from the audience, some booing as the Prime Minister appears. Thank you, thank you so much for coming. It's lovely to see you. Oh, don't be like that. Right, I think I must ask you to be quiet now. Thank you. Thank you, if you'd let me speak. That's right, OK. Well, I didn't expect to see everyone from the UK here all at the same time outside my front door. Still, it's lovely to see you. All of you. Your spokesperson, Mr. Average, how he got you here I shall never know, has told me how you feel about things. Can I ask you to respond to a few questions? I don't suppose we'll get another chance to be together quite like this again. Right. Question 1. Would you feel good if we removed traffic wardens, provided adequate free street parking, and asked prisoners to cover all criminal justice costs until they had paid their dues and were released eventually? OK, I've got that. Yes, it would make you feel good. On to question 3. Would you feel good if we scrapped large redundancy payments so that the revenue saved could be better spent to create more jobs in Britain, and abolished council tax, adding a tiny part of what you'd save to the levy on all financial transactions, mainly paid by stock market speculators?
Yes!
I'm not sure what you said. What did you say? OK, I'm sure now. You said yes. Next, question 4. Would you feel good if we encouraged local business projects for the unemployed so that they could brighten up our communities, or ask them to join construction schemes to create interest-free home ownership opportunities for everyone? What do you think? Use all available talent to make life better for all, instead of paying for nothing? That was a very clear yes. Excellent. OK, finally, question number 5. Would you feel good if life was more fun? If we cut out bureaucracy and form filling and plan to replace the thrills that youngsters get from vandalism and crime with satisfaction and excitement that we could all enjoy? In other words, would you feel happier if Britain did better, so people could enjoy more fun out of living here? Eh? No doubt there. You said yes. Right. We've got work to do inside. I know my cabinet members are out there with you. Ladies and gentlemen, if you'd just let them through, I'd like to hold an emergency cabinet meeting as soon as you people have gone home. Thank you all. Please have a safe and very happy journey back. Bye-bye.
Don't forget the scheme.
The lights dim. The scene changes back to inside the Prime Minister's office. Scene 3.
How did you get on out there, P? I heard all the noise from outside, couldn't miss it. If everyone hadn't been there, they could have heard it from Cornwall or Glasgow.
Just great. They promised total support for the kind of changes we need. They loved everything that will raise living standards. Did you hear them remind me to promote peer-to-peer local lending schemes? By the way, how did you get everyone here? Nobody out there seems to know.
Help you to put Life Centre Stage? I'd love to. A little magic here, paint a picture of hope there. There's nothing that people can't do when they try.
Well, as you've chosen to ignore my earlier question, perhaps you'd tell me, how do we start?
We start by getting people to acknowledge that no one of us is perfect. We all have faults, but we would all like to have a better way of life. Then we show people how we intend to make it easier to be more honest, by taking away most of the stresses which encourages petty and serious dishonesty in today's society.
Can I leave it to you to put the ideas over, to allow us to make progress towards putting life centre stage?
Count on me, PM.